Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's me. It's me. It's the G.O.C. It's been a minute here at the Chaos Lounge, but I'm back to bring you a live to tape special edition series that we're starting. This will be episode 1, where we look back and flash back in history over 3 decades ago to the classics here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm in the lounge. I have the espresso, and we are ready to go live to tape. It's going to be here in the tri state, New England, Northeast area, greater metropolitan area, minus 20 below tonight and tomorrow with the wind chill factor. So grab a beverage, sit back, like, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms, and you know what they are, at Big Daddy G.O.C on Twitter in real time, and the G.O.C stands for The Guardian of Chaos. Follow me on Instagram, The Guardian of Chaos, and of course my 2 accounts on Facebook, Jay Brony, that's right, Jay Brony, and Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Follow me on Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, Rumble. I cover it all in the IWC. So, as I said, let's kick back and relax. We're heading into the weekend. It's February already, and no, it's not Groundhog Day. I am here live to tape. Settling in for the month of February to see what's going to happen. You have the Super Bowl coming up. Tom Brady retired for the 80th time. A lot going on in the WWE and AEW and all throughout the independent scene. But I'm going to give you history and flashback with the old WWF. And we're going back to Madison Square Garden, and we're going to start off in June 30th, 1973, for actually all-star professional wrestling. Not even the WWF for what it was called. And this was on HBO back in 1973. I was only 10 years old. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. So sit back and, as I said, I want to give you a little history lesson, notes, sidebars of what we're going to cover. I went back to the network. That's right, on the Peacock. On the WWE Old School Network. You can follow along if you want. I'm here to break down certain elements and to not to really compare it to today's business in 2023, which we know is totally different. All great athletes, just different eras. I like to give you a historical perspective here on the channel. You know, I do AEW live to tape watch-alongs. If you follow me on Twitter, you see that I put out a lot of different things. We do WWE reviews here. We do the independent scene, my home at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. We cover it all. As I said, we have probably almost coming up on 1.8 thousand videos on the channel, Guardian of Chaos on YouTube. And yes, I have a little Hall's watermelon. Again, it's sunny out right now. And I don't think we're expecting any snow, but with the wind chill factor, it's going to be, by the time later on this afternoon, -3, -8. Then it's supposed to go down to -20 with the wind chill, and tomorrow all day as well. So it's going to be a chilly weekend. That's why, listen, I had a legendary night last night with some members and brass of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. The owner, a New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, class of 2014, Mr. Mario Mancini. Also, Mr. Paul Perez, who will be class of 2023 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. One of the co-trainers there at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Of course, yours truly, the G.O.C. class of 2019 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And the previous 2 men, Mario and Paul, and myself, class of 2020 Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, along with Paul Roma, Big Steve Tracy, Sergeant Murray. And then, of course, the enforcer, the man at the door, the man on the grill, Mr. Everything, Kevin Saban, the Saban-Tooth Tiger. So what a legendary night we had last night at a little filet mignon prime rib dinner. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the business and what you get here on the channel. And what I'm going to be doing, I just wanted to bring back the history of what I'm trying to do here and the personal perspective. That's what you get here at this channel. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, no bells, no whistles, raw reality. That's what you get on this channel. Yes, before anyone gets crazy, I did go to my stylist and get the fresh job. What do you want me to tell you? I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Like, let's go back to June 30th, 1973. The WWF at Madison Square Garden on HBO, as I said, All-Star Professional Wrestling. To open up, just the difference of how the things were back then. Again, the crowds were sold out at Madison Square Garden. We're in 2023. Let it sink in of how long ago this actually was. And again, I'm pushing the big 6-0, and I was 10 years old. So yeah, let's realize where we are in the history of time. And I enjoy doing this and doing history. You guys on the channel have known and seen the different history things that I've done on here. Now, Vince back then was doing the commentary solo from the Garden. They had the 3 judges, they had the New York State Athletic Commission, the physician, the timekeeper, just the different things and how the industry was so different back then. This is still during the territory days. So just to throw out the different side notes, they open up here clearly back then, and this will be a repetitive theme that I'll be saying throughout this podcast here from Chaos Corner, and live to tape. You clearly knew who the face and the heel were. Good guy, bad guy, white hat, black hat, whatever you want to call it in the industry, in the business. Ref Lou Latta, so I'll throw out different names, and I'm going to run down this particular card. And what one fall, 20-minute time limit, this is what's announced. Lee Wong from Ecuador, 235 pounds, a barefoot grappler going up the legendary from Albuquerque, New Mexico, 275 pounds, Black Jack Lanza. So that was the opening bout for this particular card. Again, we're on June 30th, 1973 at the Garden. And this was, and I didn't even realize it back then. Again, I'm 10 years old. It's just the stuff that influenced me on into my 3-decade-plus career as a manager and currently doing what I do with Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. The difference back then, that I didn't even know HBO had put this on back then. Just going by what it said there on the Cock and the Peacock, the network. I'm just telling you what they have, and I'm here to cover it, man. So again, this opening bout, 5 minutes, 5 seconds it took, and the ref called it basically a submission due to the claw hold to the head by Lanza. And if you know the history of the Blackjacks and just the ambiance and the crowd and where the matches lie, the main event was not always the last match, obviously. They would put it in, the championship match, right in the middle of the card. And you're going to see this as we go on. So that was the opening bout on this card, June 30th, 1973. It's something as simple as the claw hold to where Lee Wong submitted to Blackjack Lanza, who went on to an unbelievable career. We know that. Blackjack Mulligan, the Blackjacks. Second match, El Olímpico from Mexico City, now with an open mask, had the whole gear, but the face was open, 230 pounds, against, from Japan, Professor Toru Tanaka at 265 pounds, with one of the greatest managers of all time, especially for this area and for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation and just in general as a manager in history, the Grand Wizard. On a side note, again, looking from my age group back then, where it is now and 50 years ago, the fans ringside, and I can't stress enough, if you go back and look at the history and on the old network and the classics, you will see, what was the old lady's name and her group there? I wrote it down here on my notes. You know I have to be prepared, right? Mrs. Creeder. This is where the fans, when Tanaka would take his salt, throw it in the, in the ceremonial from the Orient, from the Asian folks, konnichiwa, where he would, and again, nobody got offended back then. It was very ethnic, very cultural. You could tell by the crowd and who they would react to, the Polish, the Irish, the Italians. It just was a different time. Everybody in the crowd, all different mixed races, cultures, creeds, and it was all one big family. Could have learned a lot from back then as well. Let me not get started. So just to see her come up and then wipe, they were allowed to get that close at different times. not always guardrails, and she's sweeping the salt from Tanaka, and she did it later on with Fuji on this card too. So just, if you know from the history, go back and check it out on the network. The salt ritual. And this match went 9 minutes, 34 seconds, and here's the simplicity. Tanaka, known for his martial arts, get that, right? A simple chop, karate chop, judo chop to the throat. El Dongo's El Olympico, 9 minutes, 34 seconds. So you could see another recurring theme. I'm going to be the simplicity of the finishers, and not these kick-out finishes like today, and the leg slaps like today, and just the difference. And I get it. We're going way back. Hey, come on, Chaos. Don't be like Cornette. Don't be living in the past. But that's not what this is about. It's about, as I chew my halls, this is about history in pro wrestling, which I enjoy, and bringing to you guys different content here on the channel. Again, cheers everyone to the espresso. You can't beat it. With a Brugger's bagel toasted with cream cheese. Does it get better than that? I believe I have a muffin off to the side for my snack for later. This is what I'm talking about. All right, thanks for being here, fans. So the simplicity of it, and the fans and the interaction, and just kayfabe was still alive, and it sold and it worked, and the men looked like it. Again, you see the face clearly, Lee Wong in the opening match against Alonza, El Olympico with the different style lucha match from Mexico City, and then Toru Tanaka from Japan. So you see the different cultures and races, and how things were, the angles and different storylines, and who matched up with the heroes and villains back then. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm just saying. Third match, and each one is announced differently. How now it's one fall, the crowd, one fall, 20-minute time limit. Some are one fall to a finish. You're going to see as we go on here with this card here, June 30th, 1973. One fall to a finish, Captain Lou Albano at 275 pounds from Mount Vernon against Gorilla Monsoon from Manchuria, the 400-pounder. I remember this match at 10 years old and watching this. I remember it almost like yesterday. I have to tell you the truth. Yeah, listen, it's cold outside. Cut me some slack here, will you please, guys? This match, again, quick, wild. Albano was a manager at that point. Was never a great grappler. Kind of reminds me of me. One of the guys that influenced me. You can see where it comes from as a 10-year-old boy, and what it turned out to be my career as the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, as the manager, and where my influences were. This match went 2 minutes and 58 seconds, a total classic. Albano tore his forehead to shreds, got busted open by the big chops from Monsoon, and Albano just went over the top rope and ran out of the ring in less than 3 minutes, and again busted open. The big chops from Gorilla, who was a mountain of a man, as you guys know, especially back here in 1973. So it was a count out, and that 3 minutes there might have been one of the most entertaining, and Albano couldn't sell his ass off at times. You know that. He might have had a few cocktails. I know last night at the PAPW Brass, we missed a few guys that were there. One hell of a time, as I said. We had a few. We had a few. So that was the third bout here on June 30th, 1973, the WWWF at the Garden. It was actually called All-Star Professional Wrestling, and Vince is solo at that point. Got to do a side note of how old Vince was there in 73. And then as we go on to the next show that I'm going to be doing here in 1975 from the Garden. So we go on to the next bout here from the Garden, the fourth match of the night. One fall, 20-minute time limit. Again, the previous match with the Captain and Gorilla was one fall to a finish. This is one fall, 20-minute time limit. It's the sensational Victor Rivera from Puerto Rico. No me joda maricón, muévete culo. You know what I'm talking about. Victor Rivera, and again, you could see the different cultures and different nations, and how truly global pro wrestling is. Rivera was a huge face at the time, and the crowd popping for different groups and that are represented there in New York City back in the day, and whether you're at the Garden, just truly amazing. And going up against a guy huge in Texas and out in California. I remember him as a 10-year-old boy back then, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. Black Gordman from the tag team of Gordman and Goliath, Mexico City, 233 pounds. So you see the recurring theme here. Ecuador, USA, in New Mexico, Mexico City, Japan, uh, New York, Manchuria, Mexico City, Puerto Rico, and just by Victor Rivera back then, again, a huge face, especially with the Hispanic culture and crowd and the Puerto Ricans there in New York, doing the cartwheels and the simplicity of the arm drags and just the crowd. And this match went 11 minutes and 24 seconds. A simple body slam by Rivera into the pin, a body slam into a pin, a small package by Rivera over Black Gordman. Two legendary guys from the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. Victor Rivera over Black Gordman here in the Garden in 1973, June 30th. The simplicity, again, I'm glad you guys are here for this, and this will be the recurring theme. And then in the fifth bout, talk about divas, and long before that, we have a 2 out of 3 falls with a 1 hour time limit women's tag team matchup. Let that sink in for 1973 and today. Dottie Downs and Peggy Patterson against Jan Sheridan and Joyce Grable. Gals in decent sized and great shape. In this match, the first fall went 12 minutes and 17 seconds. The second fall went 6 minutes and 21 seconds. And the third fall was 3 minutes. So it went all 3 falls there at the Garden for women back then. And even back then in 73, Vince with his little innuendos in there, McMahon perversion, I'm just saying, man, I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. But 2 out of 3 falls. The faces obviously were Sheridan and Grable. Again, some decent wrestling for today. Dottie Downs, Peggy Patterson, a large individual. And what I did notice, and you noticed from back in the 70s, even into the 80s, the tag team ropes, which is long gone by now, even in women's wrestling back in the 70s, holding onto the rope in the corner. You could see again, history, tradition, honor, respect, and you got to give them credit. And these ladies, long before anything today, from Wendy Richter to Trish Stratus to today's divas, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Monet. What do you understand what I'm saying? You could learn a lot here. So Judy Grable pinned Dottie Downs in the first fall. Downs pinned Grable in the second fall, and then in the third fall it was Jan Sheridan over Peggy Patterson. Go back and Google those names and check this match out. Not bad. The crowd was hot and popped for these ladies back then. Women's Classic Championship Wrestling, again, really was something to watch and go back and check out, even for me personally, back then. Again, I'm 10 years old at this point. Remember the time frame, guys. Again, this is spur of the moment. I had been thinking and planning about this. I'm going to go through each show, different years. And again, the next one's going to be, we're going to jump from 1973 to 1975. We're going back in the time machine with the Guardian of Chaos. Here, live to tape on Chaos Corner. The sixth match, 1 fall to a finish. This is 73, the summer of 73. Pedro Morales, the Latin sensation, is your heavyweight champion in the WWF. Let that marinate. From Culebra, Puerto Rico, again, true representation there at the Garden. The crowd was insane. You know how fiery Pedro Morales is, if anybody knows anything. I've talked to people of current day in the last year or so. Pedro Morales, like, who's that? Guys, you can't belong here or get to where you want to go without knowing the past. It's just coming from me, okay? Going up against 278 from Detroit, Michigan, and he's actually talking, no green tongue, none of that. George the Animal Steele. And again, he's using foreign objects. If you know Steele from back then, we're in 73, foreign objects. It actually sounds smart there at the Garden. Again, the crowd noise was insane in the pop, and especially for Pedro. And we're going to see the recurring theme. Right now here in 73, Pedro is the champion for that time frame. So let that sink in. And the referee stops the match. Again, different finishes that you don't always see today. It's repetitive, but we're here for history. That's another story for another time. 8 minutes, 16 seconds. This was for the title. Pedro defends the title. The ref stopped the match due to bleeding on George the Animal Steele. Busted open again, so you didn't see a lot of blood, but when you did, it was legit. You saw it with Albano on this card here in 73. You saw it with George the Animal Steele here. And again, this was the main event, but not the last match. The sixth bout here. And I just can't say enough about clearly known good guy, bad guy, face heel, the art of selling. simplicity on the mat, the simple moves. You'll see that as a recurring theme. I keep saying that. Uh, so the ref stopped the match. The crowd was insane for the time, and again, the culture, the different ethnicities, hitting home to the people that are there who all came through Ellis Island, and everybody had to go through their own struggles, and that's another show for another time. Legit reality. That's what you get here on Chaos Corner. So what an unbelievable bout. Go back and check this out from 73. Seventh bout, Chief J Strongbow, obviously 256 pounds from Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Against Mr. Fuji from Japan. Again, konnichiwa, bitches. 255 pounds. Again, Fuji and Tanaka would go on to their unbelievable tag team that they were around the globe. And of course, with the salt ritual in the corner, and again, the old lady there, and just the fans, and the chewing and running around and going back and forth, and everything was a different time. It's like, again, this is like going, again, we're in a time machine, and she's in there wiping the salt off and going back and forth. So just the interaction of fans, the legitimacy, kayfabe, and just how the emotional investment that the fans had back in the 70s. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist now, but just this is a historical, priceless and classic look back. And so you have to go back and check it out just to appreciate where you are now. You could learn a lot from this. So Fuji and Chief, and again, Chief was huge with the fans. We know Joe Scarpa, Italian, I get it, but just the gimmicks and what sold and what went with the crowds, the live crowds. And again, always sold out at the Garden. Guys, do your research, do your due diligence. And it's simple, as previous, a chop to the throat by Strongbow, his typical knee lifts and coming up and just the selling. And this match went 13 minutes, 58 seconds, almost 14 minutes, the Chief and Mr. Fuji. Strongbow went over. So, again, these are not just, everyone talks about, back then it was jobbers, it was this, that. It was a mixture. It was everything. It was the whole kit and caboodle. That's what you got. And then in the eighth bout, one fall to the curfew, because they had all kinds of things. Again, they have curfew now, but that's why they try to get extra time. We're going to go overtime. And again, we're in different times, but announced one fall to a curfew. You see one fall to a finish, one fall 20 minutes. It lost in today's mundane, repetitive. Again, respect everybody, but again, lost in the historical perspective. It's Moondog Maine from Crabtree, Oregon, 263 pounds against the 600-pounder. He wasn't 600 pounds. He was probably 4. From Corbin, Arkansas. Haystacks Calhoun. This went 6 minutes and 3 seconds, and the simplicity, again, a la Bundy and stuff like that. You don't get much of it today. Fans, you just don't, because it was a different time. Haystacks with the big splash in the corner for the pin, and it was over like that. But again, Moondog Maine, the simplicity of the gimmick and the way he looked, and, the biting, and back then, and this will be another thing that'll constantly come up with the simplicity of the moves, and everybody was biting back then in these different matches, good guys and bad guys, and you'll see that as a recurring theme. 6 minutes, 3 seconds, Haystacks. So in this card, June 30th, 73, from the Garden, 8 bouts, the ethnicity, the crowd, the noise, the ambiance. You can't get to where you're going or even where we are unless you know where you came from. Go back and check this out. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and I'm going to come back with the second part where we bounce ahead. And I think we're going to 1975. And this will be episodes that I'm going to put up off to a start here. We'll see what happens with this. I enjoy it, so let's spread the word. There's a lot of clips. Go check out the clips, my career, other people that I've been on the same events with. You guys aren't going to want to miss what's coming up here on the channel. It's me. It's me. It's the G.O.C. live to tape here at the lounge. Chaos headquarters for Chaos Corner. I'm coming back. Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare miss it. But grab a coffee.